All right.
Right.
We are up and running. Welcome back to the 2025 Borealis Psychedelic Science Summit in Stockholm. My name is Yoshi, and I'm joined now by Professor Pehr Granqvist. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You didn't have a very long journey. You're here from the Stockholm area.
Yeah, well, it's long enough for me. So, on the other side of Södermalm, right? So,
everything is relative, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit about your background, how you got into the psychedelic research field.
Oh, yeah, kind of a building block approach getting me there. I started out as a developmental psychologist, focusing in particular on attachment research. So how children form affectional bonds with their caregivers and the implications of that for their development.
Right.
And I took that kind of research framework, applied it to certain aspects of spirituality and religion, because it turns out people also develop affectional bonds to God.
Right.
And some people have dramatic kinds of religious and spiritual experiences, like sudden religious conversions, mystical experiences. And we've been able to link those sorts of things to certain forms of attachment, but we haven't been able to address whether these kinds of spiritual experiences facilitate increased security of attachment. So it's cases that insecure attachment tends to predict these radical religious experiences, but we don't know about the outcome of those experiences. And so psychedelic research designs are attractive to me because they enable optimization of the set and setting.
Right.
And the production of these kinds of experiences under controlled circumstances, so you can actually follow changes in attachment as a function of these experiences.
So do I understand correctly that the psychedelic experience can mimic an intense religious experience?
Well, not just mimic, produce one.
Produce one even.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that may be controversial to say in some quarters, but I don't think it has to be if you make it clear that you're interested in phenomenology, people's experiences, not so much the interpretation or the ontology underlying those experiences. It shouldn't really be controversial. And in point of fact, the empirical findings are quite clear. The mystical experiences produced by psychedelics in good settings are indistinguishable from mystical experiences not produced by psychedelics.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Is it true? I think I've heard this somewhere that there's also the same part of the brain that finds attachment to God through religion is activated during psychedelic experience, or can be, and that also invokes entity feelings, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The feeling that there's something present.
Yeah. And with some psychedelic drugs, that's more pronounced than with other ones. I think DMT and ayahuasca, it's particularly pronounced with entity encounters.
Right.
Yeah.
So in which way is your research structured around these questions?
Well, it's not really, we haven't done as much as I would have hoped actually in this area. I won't complain about it, but let me just say that I think there's a kind of pervasive biochemical psychiatry bias in Swedish psychiatry. So in order to get a research grant, it needs to be kind of pharmaceutical, and you look at the brain and you look at clinical symptom reduction. Very important stuff, of course, but that hasn't been my main interest. So I haven't been able to get proper research grants to look at the kind of stuff that I'm interested in. So what I do is I network with the researchers in other countries that have less of a, shall we say, neurosis about biochemical psychiatry, where there's more pluralism operating. So the PsyPal project with palliative care across 4 different sites in Europe, they're doing measures of attachment pre and post and measure a lot of psychedelic phenomenology. So we will be able to address that there. Me and my co-workers have also looked at Nysnö retreat data among healthy volunteers undergoing retreats. And we're tracking changes in attachment as a function of participation in those retreats as well. And looking at whether certain kinds of experiences, including spiritual experiences, will facilitate increases in attachment security. All of this is currently ongoing. So most of what I've done in practice is to think, review literature, come up with an agenda proposal to steer psychedelic research based on the connection between attachment and spiritual experiences and the lingering questions that remain.
Right.
So a lot of conceptual work, basically.
Very interesting. Is this what your presentation at the here at the summit will be about?
Well, actually, I'm fortunate enough not to have a proper presentation.
Oh, okay.
But a postdoc working with me, my old PhD student, Joel Grunau-Brulin, will present our findings from the Nysnö project. So people who are interested in that should show up, because he has some really exciting findings to show. My task will be, I will participate in panels. I will also moderate the final panel, the big picture. So it's 2 relaxing days for me, I would say.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where can people find or follow your work if they're interested to follow up on this?
Well, they can just Google me, I guess, and everything we publish more or less is open access, so they will be able to get the papers. They can also look me up at ResearchGate, because every so often you have a publication in an anthology that is behind closed walls, as it were, but I usually publish a preprint there.
All right. Final question. What's something you're excited about in the psychedelic field in general today or looking forward?
I love this field, I have to say. I mean, I've been part of different communities over the years. And what I like so much about psychedelic science is the kind of vibrant, creative atmosphere that has an implicit pluralism to it. So you can be part of this research community with a biochemical lens or a pharmaceutical lens. That's okay, it's very important. You can also be in the humanities, interested in anthropology, even post-Marxist criticism of the pharmaceutical industry, and everyone is applauded for their contribution. I think that's beautiful.
That's
it's
fantastic.
truly so the cross-disciplinary nature of it, the philosophical ramifications, is really what gets me going.
Kind of vibes well with what psychedelics do to the brain, where
It
they
does.
allow different centers to kind of communicate.
Yeah. It does.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Professor Pehr Granqvist, thank you very much for sitting down and talking to me.
Thank you so much.
Much appreciated. And thanks to everyone tuning in. My name is Yoshi. This has been the Borealis Psychedelic Science Summit. Catch you next time.